Being indecisive can be pretty stressful, and it could leave you feeling, unsure of yourself and anxious and confused, which is why today I'm going to share with you a few causes as to why we are indecisive, and also 3 tips that's going to help you feel more confident when you go to make a decision. Hey everybody, it's A Benton, your certified life coach, helping men take control of their lives and achieving their desires. Subscribe to my channel and hit the bell to be notified when I post a new video every Tuesday. Like so many people, I myself have fell victim to, indecisiveness, right? And not being able to make a decision, even from the smallest purchases, like, which toothbrush am I going to use, or which restaurant am I going to eat at tonight, to larger purchases like which vehicle am I going to buy, or, which house do I want, or which mortgage lender do I work with. And so the tips that I'm going to share with you have helped me. And I know that if you actually implement them, they can help you too. All right, so when you look at the reasons or the causes as to why we are indecisive in moments in our lives, or for some of us, it's probably, a lot of moments in our lives, it really comes down to root causes. And one of those being, the lack of knowledge, the lack of understanding. When you don't have enough information to make a decision on something, you do what any other person would typically do, right? Which is you fall back, right? And you remove yourself from that situation, because when you don't have enough information, or when you lack that information, you become unfocused, and you may feel a rush of anxiety, or you just become unsure, and you don't know if the decision that you're going to make is going to be the right one, or if it's going to be the wrong one. And that's why, again, when you are presented with a choice to make, whether it's something small or something large, and you don't have enough information, you're just going to do what normal human beings do, and that's to bag down, to bag away, so that way you can get more time to get more information and become aware of what it is that you are, your choices, or what are the purchases that you're making. So not having enough information will leave you in a position where you don't want to make a decision, because you don't know if it's going to be the right decision or the wrong decision, and you typically tend to pay the price for when you don't make a decision, and that usually comes in the form of either time, money, or opportunities. So having a better understanding of what it is that you are getting yourself into, whatever the choice is only going to suit you when you are fully presented with that information. Now, however, you're going to run into times and choices where you don't have all the information necessary to make a decision. It could be something that's very very hasteful, right? And something that needs to be done right now. And in those instances, when you don't have the time to gather the right information, and you have to make a decision right then and there, then typically what you would do, or what you would see in most humans, is they go off their gut, their intuition, right? Their emotion. What are they feeling at the time that they need to make that decision? Does it feel right in your stomach? Are you starting to get knots, and you're starting to get a little queasy, and maybe you're starting to sweat, your anxiety's starting to kick in a little bit. So really, when you're in those positions where you don't have a lot of time to get a lot of knowledge in, that's when I personally have resorted to, okay, what's my gut telling me? What is the result that I want, and is it presented in either one of these choices? So that's one of the main causes for why we are indecisive. The other main cause of being indecisive is the fear of the unknown, right? The fear of change, or the fear of making a mistake is another reason why we feel indecisive, and we don't make a choice or a decision when we need to. Unfortunately, we don't have the power to, or at least I think we don't have the power to see into the future, right? And to see and to know every time that, hey, we make a decision, I know this is going to be the right decision, or I know this is going to keep me from making a mistake. Unfortunately, we don't have that power. And so you have to rely on other instincts and other methods to help you make the best decision when you are presented with that option. And so, again, when you are fearful of what may happen, that hinders you, and now you are you're slow to make a decision, and you become unsure of yourself, and again, you back away. You get yourself out of that out of that position, obviously you fear of making a mistake. Now, life is all about mistakes. And I'm sure if you look in your past and all the choices that you've made previous, you've made mistakes. Whether those were abrupt choices that you made or you had time to think about whatever choice you were going to do, you probably still ended up making mistakes even though you had the time and you had all the knowledge in the world about that decision. And so there's no way to, again, calculate for what's going to happen on the other side. And so again, you just need to prepare yourself for what may happen. And that's why when you go into making a decision, it's always great to understand, okay, what could happen? What is the negative behind this choice? And then that way you're able to prepare yourself for if that does happen and you go through with that. Let's say you go through with that choice and something negative comes out on the other side of that. You've already mentally prepared yourself to know, okay, I knew something like that was going to happen, or I knew that was going to happen, but yet this was still the right choice for me. So don't let those two causes be your downfall and stop you from making a decision. Just be cognizant and be aware that that is what's going on. That is the reason, typically, that is the reason what is causing you to be indecisive and to not be able to make a decision when you need to. But I think that if you can, once you know that and you can better understand the reason why you're being stopped, then you're able to move forward and say, okay, I'm probably not making a decision because of this. Let me gather more information. Or I'm probably not making a decision because I'm scared of what might happen. Okay, let me gather my thoughts. Let me see if I can figure out, okay, what would the negative be on each of these choices or one of these choices, and then let's proceed forward. So those two reasons there are typically why people become or are indecisive and they don't make a decision when they need to. So without further ado, let's jump into the first tip. This is what I use or have used in the past to help me make a decision depending on what type of decision it was. And so we'll get into a couple of examples, but the first tip that I would tell you is to delegate if possible. Okay, so not every situation when you go to make a choice or when you have a choice to make that you're able to delegate. There's only be certain situations that you're able to have someone else make the decision for you. So I'll give you an example. If you go to a Starbucks, right? Go to a coffee shop, and if it's your first time, you're definitely gonna have this anxiety about, oh crap, okay, which coffee should I choose? Which size do I need to get? What brews do I get? It iced? Do I get it hot? There's just so many choices. And when you're not familiar and you have 1,000 choices, it becomes that much harder for you to make a decision because, again, you have a lack of knowledge. You're not sure what it's going to taste like. You don't really know the origin. You don't really know the familiarity with Starbucks and what they taste like and things of that nature. So what I would tell you is to, in those cases, delegate. You have a barista there that is taking your order, that works there, that is familiar with the different types of coffees that they offer, the different types of taste, what they're brewed with, all the above, the sizes. And so I would say, if you're in that position to where there's thousands of choices, there's hundreds of choices to make, and you're unsure, ask the salesperson, hey, what do you think? I'm new to the coffee realm, or I've only had coffee a handful of times. I kind of like sweet coffee, or I kind of like sugary coffee. Tell them what your kind of what you like, and let them help you decide on which coffee to make, which takes the pressure off of you in having to decide out of all of these options that they have, which coffee is best for you. And again, when you can do that, it takes the pressure off of you, and you allow someone else who is familiar with the product or service, someone else who is more experienced with that product or service, to be able to guide you into the choice that is best for you. So I would say that when you're presented with the choice that you have to make, and you're able to delegate to someone who's more experienced or who has more knowledge than you in that particular service or area or whatever it is that you're trying to make a decision on, then let them help you. And there's going to be times where there isn't going to be a salesperson, right? Or there isn't going to be that expert that can help you. And that's when you can lean on family or friends, or people that have gone through that certain situation before, or whatever that choice is. And you can, like I said, you can call up a friend and ask them for their advice. If you're going out to dinner and there's a couple restaurants that you've never tried before, but you have a friend who's a foodie and they eat at damn near every restaurant in town, call them up. Hey, what do you think about this place? Or what do you think about this place? Do you think I would like it based on, what I typically like? What did you like about it? And have them give you their advice. And that's going to help you make a decision. Again, it's going to take less pressure off of you, and you won't feel as anxious and having to decide so quickly. So that would be the first tip that I would tell you guys in order to help you move towards making a decision and not being indecisive. The second tip that I would share with you is to take your time, if you can. Now, there's going to be certain situations where, time is of the essence. Like I said before, you're on your way to work, you stop at Starbucks, you got to make a choice, right? Otherwise, you're going to be late. But if you have time, then make sure that you are able to be able to process what it is, the choice that you're making, right? And that you have to make. And if you need more time, or if you need to bag out and get more information, then do that. Most of the time you see people are persuaded into making a decision. You typically see this with like car salesmen, right? Where you're purchasing a car and they're kind of giving you all the features of the car, and then they're saying, oh, we're only running a sale through today, and this car may not be in the lot tomorrow because it's really popular, and I've already had 5 calls on it already this morning. And so they try to persuade you into making a decision when you are not ready and able, right? And actually willing and wanting to make a decision at that point in time. So don't let them persuade you. So I would say take your time if you're able to. Like I said, gather more information about what it is that whatever choice that you're trying to make. If you're moving from your lease is up and you're about to get a new apartment and you're looking for apartments and you're out there shopping for apartments, take your time. If you have the time, gather more information, ask around, get reviews if necessary. I mean, we live in a world of social media and internet where you can get a review pretty much on any product or service that is out there. So go and talk to previous clients of that product or service and ask them what their thoughts are as you go to make a decision. So take your time when you are out there making a decision, because the last thing that you want to do is make a decision in haste. And at that point in time, then it's up to chance, it's up to luck on whether or not that's going to be a great decision for you on the other side, or if it was going to be the worst decision you've ever made. So again, like I said before, you're not able to predict every decision, whether it's going to be a good choice or a bad choice, for the most part. And so when you have time, you're more than likely to make a better decision because you can gather more information about that. And more importantly, you can feel confident in your decision. So whether you made a mistake on the other side or not, in that moment of making that choice, you felt confident, right? You felt good about your choice. And what happens on the other side is that's just it is what it is, and you learn from that and you move on and you prepare yourself for if you have a similar choice or decision to make coming up, then you're familiar, right? You already know what you need to do. But like I said, take your time, and again, that's going to allow you to make better decisions for yourself. So that's tip number 2. And I also want to add to tip number 2 is that you're more than likely to be out of focus and to feel like you're on edge, which basically means that your anxiety is about to kick in when you feel rushed and you don't have time to make a decision. So always be cognizant of how your body is feeling when it comes time to make a decision. Are you sweating? Is your anxiety kicking up? Is your stomach kind of gurgling and feeling all weird and fuzzy? Take heed to that, and that's an opportunity for you to say, okay, I'm not feeling right with making a decision. Whatever I need to do, I need to bag away and go do that first, and then come back to making a decision. So that's tip number 2. And if you're going to utilize these tips to stop being indecisive, go ahead and write hell yeah in the comments below. And the last and final tip number 3, is to know your results. So I'll give you an example of how this worked for me, because I typically use this a lot when I go to make my decisions, especially ones that involve money. So about a month ago, I was looking at taking some type of business coaching course. I needed more help in a certain area of my business, and I knew I couldn't do it alone. So I started researching business coaches that were out there and kind of certain programs in the areas that I needed help. And I ended up finding a person that seemed pretty credible. They really didn't have too big of a following on social media. And I know that was kind of one of the reasons that deterred me from making a decision when I was offered one to take her course right then and there. So I needed more information. So I signed on to get her email list, and I started reading her newsletters that she was sending. I did research on Google about her, what she accomplished in her own personal business. I even reached out to previous clients of hers to get information like, how did you think the course was? Was it worth this amount of money? Would you take it again? Would you tell someone else to take the course? So I was gathering all this information, and again, I was hesitant because I was forking over a couple $100, and I knew that I didn't want to make the wrong decision, like we talked about before. The fear of the unknown. Is this the right choice? Because I had money on the line. I'd hate to lose all that money in this program, for this program not to work, when I could have put that towards something else. And so, again, when money is involved, you take more time. You notice that when you have, especially large sums of money, like buying a car or investing in something, you notice that you take probably a lot longer to decide, okay, this is a good move, before you actually just do it. Sometimes it's right then and there. It just depends on your gut feeling and your emotion at the time. But most of the time you take your time. And that's exactly what I did. And then once I had all the information and I still felt confident in making a decision, the one piece of information, the one thing that really pushed me forward to, okay, putting over my credit card and actually paying for it on the spot, was knowing the result. It was knowing, what did I really want? What was I trying to accomplish? Because what I was trying to accomplish, the things that I wanted, outweighed my sense of not knowing, my fear of the unknown. I wanted to succeed in this certain area of my business so bad that I was willing to say, okay, I want it so bad. She seems like she has the answers. I don't really know for sure. Based on the information that I got, it seems like she does. I'm going to go ahead and take the choice. I'm going to go ahead and take the chance, and hopefully that it works. And it has been working out thus far. But that just goes to show that, like I said, with money and time and invested in making a choice, you slow down. Just like when you learn something new, you tend to slow down to like digress it and to be able to understand it. And that's exactly what I did with this particular choice that I had to make. I slowed down, I gathered more information, and then ultimately it was the pain that I was experiencing of not being good in this certain area that propelled me to, you know what, let's just go ahead and take a chance. She seems like she knows what she's doing. She's had X amount of clients before in this program, so people are obviously picking it up as well, and they're doing it. So I'm going to take a chance on her and jump into it, and that's what I did. So when you are faced with a choice to make, one tip that can help you, one thing that can help you, is to know the result that you're trying to go after. What is it? What is the overall outcome? And does this choice give you the option to, or seem like the result that you're trying to accomplish? You may not have all the facts. You may not be fully confident that this decision is the right one. But sometimes the pain that you're currently in, the state that you're facing, will be enough to propel you to make a decision right then and there, because you'd rather get the outcome than to sit where you currently are and still be stuck wherever it is that you're currently stuck. And that happened for me. So it was knowing the outcome. It was knowing the result that I wanted that propelled me to make a decision right away. So so those are the 3 tips that I would have you guys do and implement. And like I said, none of this is gonna work unless you try and implement it, right? Unless you actually take action on it and do it. And so if you're tired of being indecisive, if you're tired of not being able to make a decision, then I would say implement these tips. Implement one of these tips and try it, and push yourself to go beyond what you've known and to make a decision, right? And not be indecisive. All right, so taking control of your lives and accomplishing your dreams and your goals and achieving your desires can seem like a very daunting task. But more than ever, you need accountability and you need clarity. And these two things will make sure that you have success. And so if you want to start moving in the right direction, I suggest that you click the link in the description below, as you can schedule a free discovery session with myself. And in this call, we'll get very clear on what it is that you're trying to accomplish, what it is that you want, what are some of the things that are holding you up from accomplishing those things, and what steps do you need to take forward to get you where you need to go. And as always, be sure to check out these next videos to continue building on your mindset. If you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe, share it with your friends, and as always, we'll see you on the next video.